Oh, hello. I just wanted to update you all on the ordeal that I've just been through. Now, this all came about because I decided to do the government bowel cancer test when they sent it out. Up until this year, I've thrown them all out in the bin when they've arrived. But my intuition kept telling me, no, do the test. Do the test. So I put the test aside, and anyway, a couple of weeks later, I was sitting at my computer and going through some papers on my desk and found the test again. Straight away I got told, do the test. So anyway, I went about and did the test and sent it off. And next thing I get a letter from the hospital telling me that I need to come in and have a talk to them about having a colonoscopy because the test had proven positive. So I went in and had the colonoscopy, and the first one, and they found 5 little polyps ranging from 3 millimeters to 5 millimeters, and they removed those. But they also found a large one, 25 millimeters, but they needed another expert to remove that one. So 2 weeks later, I went back in for another colonoscopy, and they removed that one. And then I got a letter from the hospital saying that I needed to go and talk to the surgeon because the test had proven positive that I had stage 1 bowel cancer. So anyway, I went in and had the interview with the doctor, and it all came about, and we set a date for me to go and have my large bowel removed. So anyway, a couple of cancellations later, or postponements later, they set a date for the 2nd of August. So on the 2nd of August, I entered the hospital at 6:30 in the morning, and the operation was going to take 4 hours. I'd done all the prep before I went in, so it was straight into surgery. Well, I had the surgery, and anyway, I was recovering, and the next morning I was busting to go to the toilet. So I got the nurse to help me get to the toilet, and as soon as I sat on the toilet, it just all came out, but it was all, I thought I was doing a pee out of my backside. Anyway, it turned out that I filled the bowl with, the toilet bowl with blood, and it wasn't dry blood. There was some dry blood in it, but it was all fresh blood. So anyway, the doctors were called, and I was rushed back into surgery. They did like another colonoscopy to find out where the bleed was. And what had happened, one of the staples hadn't taken properly, and I'd been bleeding all night. So anyway, they stapled that up, and then they realised that I needed to have a blood transfusion. So that was all done, and anyway, I was starting to feel okay for the next couple of days, and then all of a sudden, because they were testing my blood every 4 hours, they realised that I had 4 large blood clots form in my lungs, and they also told me that there were 6 in my leg. So they had to put me on a heparin infusion, and that was to thin the blood and dissolve the clots. So while I was on that, it was all going along okay. I never complained about anything. And then they did tests all the time, blood tests, and took x-rays, and they found that I'd contracted pneumonia and a really bad infection in my lungs. So they set about giving me medication to get rid of that. And anyway, that went on for a few days, and the heparin infusion was going to take quite a few days. And then one morning I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I complained to the nurse about shortage of breath. I said, it feels like I'm one breath behind. All the time I'm one breath behind. So they got the doctors in, and they did x-rays, and everything else, and told me that I was going to end up having to go into ICU. That one of my right lung had collapsed. So they took me into ICU, and when I got to ICU, they put this special mask on me, and I remember it was very, very tight around the face. And but the first blast of oxygen that came from that, I felt it, and I remember it coming down through my airways and hitting my lungs, and just seemed to inflate my lungs straight away. To me, it felt like heaven, like God had just touched me, and it was so unreal that it was just, how do you explain it? It was just total bliss that I felt. I just felt, wow, this is really, really amazing. And so anyway, then the next blast of oxygen came, and the same feeling. I could feel it go right down through my airways and hit my lungs, and same feeling, just total relief and total bliss, like I was in heaven, It's just felt really, really that great. And then next thing, the third blast came, and same feeling, same sensation, just absolutely amazing. And then they removed the mask, and I wondered, why the heck would they remove the mask? This is just so good. It had filled my lungs up, and I was no longer one breath behind. Anyway, they put me on the other oxygen mask, the normal one, and I was breathing okay. So I thought, well, that was a relief. And anyway, I must have fallen asleep. And anyway, the next morning when I woke up, I was talking to the nurse that was on, that had looked after me all night. He was a young Korean man, and he'd said he'd been working at the hospital for quite some years. And he told me that nobody liked that mask. Everybody hated it. He's always had nothing but complaints about this mask that they put on me. And I said, if you hadn't have put that mask on, I don't think I'd be here. I really believe that it saved my life. And then he gave me some more good news. He says, well, you've got no COVID, and you've got no bowel cancer. It's all gone. Well, that was great news. Anyway, that afternoon they decided that I needed to go back to the Ward 2H in the Logan Hospital. And this time they put me in a separate room, private room, on my own, where they kept a very good eye on me, and went about getting me to recover. And then one morning, the doctor came in and said, your blood levels are all over the place, and you have your iron levels are so low that it's only showing 2% iron in your blood. So we need to do a blood infusion, an iron infusion, I should say. So anyway, I had to sign a form and allow them to do that, and they did that, and that took about 6 hours. And after that finished and they removed that, I just started feeling really, really good. I was re-energized. My breathing was okay. I still had this contraption on my face with the hooks up my nose, and on high oxygen to help me breathe. And then they started, because I was starting to feel so good, and I hadn't eaten for 9 days, so then they allowed me to start eating proper food again. And over the next 2 or 3 days, I came good, and they released me from hospital and let me go home. Now, I did suffer a lot, even at home, and they told me it was going to take quite some time before I'd come right, so don't overdo anything and just take it easy, and which I did. And anyway, now I've been home for 3 weeks, and I'm feeling really great. I went for a walk the other day. I walked 2 kilometres. Went for a walk again yesterday and again this morning. And I'm feeling really good. I've overcome that, so it's another miracle that I've gone through and faced and come out the other side. God's really looking after me. And anyway, I can't thank the doctors and the nurses enough for what they did for me. I was really treated with a lot of love and a lot of respect, and felt at ease the whole time that I was in the hospital. Even with all the stuff that I went through, bad as it was, I felt okay. I felt safe, and the doctors and nurses made me feel that way. I thank them with all my heart. I am so grateful. And the Queensland Health, I applaud you. Thank you very much. Take care. Enjoy your life, everyone. We only have now to live for. Bye for now.